Hi and welcome to Squizz.com, the connected marketplace. For this episode 9, I'll be showing you the latest changes we've made to the platform over the last few weeks. Today we'll be looking at the new feature we've added that allows customers to pay for supplier organization invoices with a credit card through the Squizz.com platform. So I'll take you straight into an example where we can see this in action. So I'm logged into the Squizz.com platform with a person called Clancy, and he is the purchasing person within the Springfield Police organization. The Springfield Police organization buys donuts on a regular basis of the Cookie Mart organization, which is the supplier. So within Squizz.com, Clancy logs in, and because he's already been assigned to a Cookie Mart customer account, he just clicks on the accounts menu and he can see the account that Springfield Police have with the Cookie Mart organization. So if we click on the details and click on the account inquiry button, Clancy now can load up all the invoices for that customer account with Cookie Mart. So this is doing a live query into Cookie Mart's accounting or connected business system to pull out the invoices that are currently available for that account. So we can see that 3 invoices have been loaded, and from those 3 invoices, one's already been paid for, so it has $0 owed, whereas the other 2 invoices, the Springfield Police organization owes $880 to pay for that invoice and $220 to pay for this other invoice. So if we can click on the invoice number itself, we can see all the details of the invoice. So there's 2 lines in this invoice to purchase a combined total of 80 different kinds of donuts, and that's costing $880. So the new feature in the platform is Clancy can now tick the invoices that he wants to make a payment against. Once he's done that, he can scroll down and click on the Pay Invoices button, which adds up the invoice totals. And then we can also see the list of the invoices that are going to be paid. So Clancy's going to make a payment of $1,100 in Australian dollars, and he can now choose the button to pay by credit card. So that now brings up the credit card payment form, and then he can put in the details of the credit card of the Springfield Police. So we've just got some example credit card information here. And then in the credit card details form, we can see that there are no additional charges to this credit card payment, and we can see that no additional tax has been applied to it. And then the last thing that Clancy needs to do is click on the Make Payment button. So a credit card payment has now been paid, and now that money has been transferred to the Cookie Mart organization that the invoice is loaded against. And we can see that it has now the reference number from the payment gateway. We have the amount that's paid, and we have a payment code for the payment that's been made through the Squizz.com platform. So once this payment has been made, the money should go through to the Cookie Mart's merchant bank account, and then that invoice payment can then be resolved against those invoices that were paid for. Now, for Clancy, he can go into the payment section of the customer account, and if he loads that up, we can now see that payment that was just made here. So we've got a history of the payments that have been made, and if he clicks on the payment code, he can now see the invoices that were paid for and the time that the payment was made, as well as the payment code. So this shows a history of all the payments, the credit card payments that have been made against this customer account through the Squizz.com platform. So anytime in the future, Clancy can go back into his accounts, he can go back into the details of the account and view those payments and see what has been paid. As well as if he loads up the invoices again, we can now see that the payment code and the payment has been applied against the original invoice, as well as the tick boxes have been grayed out, so that way Clancy knows that he doesn't need to pay for these invoices anymore. Now, it may take time for Cookie Mart's system to show that that payment has been applied against those invoices, and then once those amounts have been applied within the Cookie Mart's accounting or ERP system or whichever business system they are running, then those amounts will go back to 0. But already Clancy can see that there's already been a payment applied against it, so he doesn't need to apply any more payments against those invoices. And if he really wanted to, he could still click on the tick boxes and then to make a payment if those payments failed for whatever reason and you need to apply a new payment again. So this shows you how quickly and easy it can be for customers in order to pay for invoices. And if Clancy was assigned to multiple accounts across different suppliers, he could simply click on the details each of the customer accounts of the suppliers and quickly find and pay for invoices across many businesses. So that shows the power and the ease in which customers can pay for invoices through the Squizz.com platform. Now, on the flip side of this, we have Abu, who's an admin of the Quickie Mart organization, and we can see there is a notification that has been raised against the accounts for him. So if we go into that, we can see Abu receives a notification that Clancy Wiggum has made to the Quickie Mart organization for the invoices that are linked to the customer account, and we can see the payment code. So Abu can instantly, or any accounts people that are allowed to, they can receive notifications where payments are being made, just like as if you would receive an email. Then they can view the details of that, and if they had to do any processing or verifications, they could also see that here as well. Abu can go into the account itself and also view the payments. So any staff associated with a supplier organization can receive these notifications and check up to make sure the payments have been going through. We can also see there's a notification advising when the payment's automatically going through to their connected business system. So we know that those payments are going to be applied against the invoices in a supplier organization, in this case it's Quickie Mart, and then that could potentially eliminate the need for admin staff to manually do data entry to apply the payment. There are a number of benefits to both suppliers and customers using the Squizz.com platform to pay for invoices. For supplier businesses, the benefits include the ability to quickly set up invoice payment options without having to invest into any payment gateway software development. For organizations that don't need to set up a separate website to support invoice credit card payment features, which could be costly and complex to set up and maintain. For a supplier's customers, they can quickly find and pay for invoices without having to learn new workflows that would otherwise be required when paying through multiple different supplier websites. For suppliers, they can set up their own surcharge costs for credit card payments, ensuring that they can cover the credit card transaction costs. Supplier businesses can choose from and leverage all the integrations Squizz.com has developed with its payment gateways, offering choice and flexibility over the payment gateway a business wishes to use. This could reduce credit card transaction costs by being able to shop around. Suppliers can set up and use multiple payment gateways at the same time, selecting which customers can use certain gateways, giving flexibility to the customer while potentially reducing transaction costs. Suppliers can choose to automatically have their invoice payments applied to invoices with their own connected accounting and ERP business systems. This can reduce the amount of time spent by admin staff having to otherwise manually apply payments. This can save a supplier organization time and money. Supplier staff could also use the platform to take over-the-phone credit card details and apply payments directly to the invoice of choice. Once again, without the need for a supplier organization to purchase separate software to do this job. There's a number of benefits to customers as well. By being able to pay for invoices across multiple supplier organizations without having to log into separate websites. A customer person only needs to log into the Squizz.com platform using a single sign-on. Then they can access and pay for invoices for each of the organizations and accounts they are connected to on the platform. This can save customers time and take the headaches out having to learn lots of new websites and systems that they would otherwise have to do. Customers and even staff of the supplier organizations can see a list of previous credit card payments made against a customer account in the platform, easily being able to see the payment history of that account. Customers can also have options to choose from multiple credit card payment options. This could allow them to pay with credit cards that may have lower or no additional surcharge costs, allowing them to get the win and save money in the process. In summary, the Squizz.com platform can simplify and automate a number of processes, allowing supplier organizations to get paid quicker, while allowing customers to pay for invoices quicker and easier. Now, to give you an idea of how this payment functionality all fits together, let me step through it with this diagram here. First, we have the Squizz.com platform, and separately we have the Quickie Mart's computer network, or that's the Invoicing organization's computer network. And within their computer network, they have a business system as well as a connection to Squizz.com. So the first thing that Quickie Mart needs to do is become registered on the Squizz.com platform. And then once they're registered, they want to set up a relationship with the customer organization or person who's going to be paying for the invoices. So separately, we have another business, in this case, Springfield Police, which is going to connect with Quickie Mart on the Squizz.com platform. Now, with those connections in place, Quickie Mart now needs to then connect their business up to the Squizz.com platform, and they can do this using the Squizz.com connector software, or they could have their own compatible web service that allows Squizz.com to talk with that business system. In that business system, Quickie Mart would have set up a customer account, and that's the customer account that the invoice is going to be placed against. In some systems, this customer account is also known as a debtor, or a customer, or a business partner, depending on how that system's terminology is used. But in our case, the Squizz.com calls this a customer account. So Quickie-Mart first pushes a customer account using the connector software or any compatible software through the Squizz.com API, and then that customer account then can live in the platform, and then Quickie-Mart will then assign that a customer account to Springfield Police. And that gives Springfield Police, or the people who are connected to this customer account, the permissions to be able to then view the invoicing and other information associated with that account. With that account in place now, the other part is the invoices. So in Quickie-Mart's own business system, such as their accounting or enterprise resource planning system, they will generate an invoice or convert a sales order into an invoice at the time that goods and services are ready to be delivered or have been delivered. So an invoice is created in Quickie-Mart's own business system, and then Squizz.com, if Quickie-Mart has set it up, can be allowed to retrieve the invoicing data from the Quickie-Mart's business system and pull that data back into the Squizz.com platform. So once we have the invoices, and there could be multiple invoices which are being copied across, then the person on Springfield Police's side or the customer side can then now choose to pay for those invoices. To allow the credit card payments to be made, the Quickie-Mart would separately set themselves up with a payment gateway. And a Quickie-Mart within the Squizz.com platform would set up the details to a payment gateway. And the payment gateway is used to allow a credit card payments to be made for the invoices. So once Quickie-Mart has registered with a payment gateway provider, then can allow to be paid by customers for the invoices. Springfield Police or the customer will enter their credit card details and make a credit card payment. So that payment will be then sent across to the designated payment gateway. Then from there, the payment gateway will facilitate the transfer between the payee's bank account by verifying the credit card details with the payee's banking institution. Then from there, a money transfer can take place from the payee's bank account across to the merchant bank account of the invoicing organization. Now, once that money transfer has successfully been made, the payment gateway will then return a successful response advising of the successful payment, and then that payment can be applied to one or more invoices within the Squizz.com platform, as well as that payment being then sent by the Squizz.com platform back to the invoicing organization's business system through the connector software or the compatible web service software that allows the payment to be imported into the accounting or ERP system, and then that payment can be lodged against the invoices that the payment was made against for that given customer account. So a record of the payment is both within the Squizz.com platform, as well as the payment gateways can also record the payment, as well as the funds transfer between the customer's bank account and then the invoicing organization's bank account. Now, the important things to note is that the invoicing organization has to set up a merchant bank account. And a merchant bank account allows that organization to receive credit card payments and other online payments. And this is not unique to Squizz, this is for any kind of business that wants to receive credit card payments. And also note, for this transaction to occur, the payment gateway provider typically charge costs in order to facilitate the money transfer between the payee's bank account and the merchant bank account. So now that you've got an idea of the things that are occurring, let's look at how an invoicing organization can get this invoice credit card payment feature set up within the Squizz.com platform. So for an organization already registered on the Squizz.com platform, to set up credit card invoice payments, there are 10 steps that need to take place for this to happen. Step 1 is outside of the Squizz.com platform. They need to set up a merchant banking account with a banking institution if one already hasn't been set up for the organization. A merchant bank account allows the business to receive credit card payments from the payee's bank accounts. It is recommended to choose a banking institution to sign up an account with that is supported by the payment gateway providers, which leads us into step 2. So the second step, also outside the Squizz.com platform, is that the invoicing organization needs to sign up with a credit card payment gateway provider. This provider provides a credit card payment gateway which facilitates the validation of the credit card details entered by a customer user, as well as transferring the funds from the payee's bank account to the organization's merchant bank account. Squizz.com initially supports 3 different types of payment gateways. These include eWay, Secure Pay, and MasterCard. Note that when you sign up with a merchant bank account from step 1, you want to use a payment gateway that supports the connecting to the banking institution. You should check with the payment gateways of the banks that they support, as well as talk to your banking institution who's going to be hosting the merchant bank account. With these two steps now in place, we can go back to the Squizz.com platform to do more of the setup work. So step 3, we need to set up a payment gateway provider record within the Squizz.com against the invoicing organization. So to do that, once the organization registered, the admin of the organization, so Abu would be the admin of our example organization, they would click on the organizations menu, click on the profile button. Then within the organization interface, click on the admin button, and then a new section that has been added is called payment gateways. If we click on the add payment gateway, we can fill in the details of the payment gateway we've chosen for the credit card payment. So we can choose our type of one of the 3 options. Then once we've chosen our payment gateway, we need to give that payment gateway a unique code in the platform. So you can set the code to whatever you'd want it to be, but it needs to be unique. So we could call this one eWay, and this may be used for Visa and MasterCard payments. So we could call it like that. Now the gateway or customer ID is the unique identifier that the payment gateway has given to you, which allows the Squizz.com platform to send the credit card payments to that payment gateway. So once you've set up with that payment gateway provider, they should issue you with an ID, which we can then use in order to facilitate the payment. So eWay would have given us a customer ID. Let's just choose random numbers. And secondly, for some payment gateways, they may require also a payment gateway password being set up. So they may issue you a password or allow you to set your own password for the payment gateway. And that password will also be passed across when a credit card payment is being made through the platform. The other option we've got here is to choose the credit card types that we want to allow our customers to pay with for the invoices. So we could choose from MasterCard, Visa, and American Express credit cards, or maybe we don't want to support American Express or Visa because they have higher transaction costs, or maybe they're not supported by the payment gateway. So we can pick and choose our options there. So once we click the Save button, the payment gateway will be added, and note that you can create multiple payment gateway records, so you could have relationships set up with more than one payment gateway in the platform, and that's why that payment gateway code needs to be different. So I've got a number of different payment gateways that have been set up here. Now this leads us into step 4. And step 4 is we need to import payment types into the Squizz.com platform. So a payment type specifies a way that a customer can pay for things within the Squizz.com platform. And payment types can be imported into the Squizz.com platform through its APIs or through using the Squizz.com connector software. So here's 3 different kinds of payment types that have been imported for this supplying organization. We have a credit card payment type, a direct deposit, and on account. And these labels and these terms can be completely customized. If we go into one payment type has a unique identifier. It has also its own code. It can be given its own label. And one of the options is the payment method. And this is one of the most critical options because you can specify which method this payment type uses. So we need a payment type that is set to credit card that allows credit card payments to be made. Now separately, we can also put in other information about the payment type. We can also set a surcharge code, and we can choose some surcharges. So if customers were making a credit card payment, what would be additional costs which would be added on top of the payment itself? And we'll come back to more about these details later. That gives you an overall view of the details of the payment types. Now to get the payment types into the platform. In this example, I've set the payment types up, the data first within a spreadsheet application. So here's the example data that we saw before. And then I've used the Squizz.com connector to push that into the platform for the Quickie Mart organization. But note that other accounting and ERP and business systems could also allow you to set payment types and assign them directly to customer accounts. So we need to get that data imported into the organization, and one of those payment types must have the payment method set to credit card. Now this leads us into step 5. So we have to get the code of the payment gateway, copy that, and then against the imported payment types, find the credit card payment type. Then in the payment gateway code, copy that code and then save the payment type. So this allows us to link payment gateways to the credit card payment types. Now for the next step, we need to also import customer accounts into the Squizz.com platform. And we need to have these selected customer accounts assigned to the chosen credit card payment types. So once again, we can use the connector software or compatible software that work with the Squizz.com's APIs to import the customer accounts. And then we can find these customer accounts. If we once again go back into the organizations menu, and then for the admin can then see the list of all the customer accounts that have been imported. So for Quickie Mart here, there have been 2 customer accounts that have been imported. One is Moe's Tavern and the other one is Springfield Police. Now, when we import those customer accounts, we also have to assign a customer account to the payment type. And that also happens in the data coming out from the accounting or ERP system or through the Squizz.com connector software and set up there. So if we go into the details of the customer account, and we can see in this account that there have been two of these payment types have been assigned to the account, which we have the on account payment type as well as the credit card. So this is the one that is all important, is assigning that credit card payment type to the account. So this then allows credit card payments to be able to be made against this account for its invoices. Without it being assigned, that is not possible. So this allows invoicing organizations to pick and choose which customers allow credit card invoicing to occur. Maybe they don't want to allow everyone, maybe it's just for specific customers, maybe they're trialing it out, or maybe they want to be careful on how much credit card transaction costs they're going to have to pay for. Or otherwise, you could apply it to every customer account to allow everyone to pay for invoices and get that money quicker. With that done, it leads us on to step 7. Back within the profile of the invoicing organization, we now need to set up the connector settings. And this allows the Squizz.com platform to make requests to receive invoice data in real time. So if we go into the connector settings, so we need to specify the public IP address or public domain of the web service, such as the Squizz.com connector software or the compatible service that can be used to send requests to ask for invoice information, which is then in turn connected to the relevant business system that stores the invoice data. So in this example, I've put in an IP address of the computer that is allowed to retrieve the Quickie Mart's invoice data. I set the port, so the port specifies basically the door that we can knock on that computer in order to allow those requests to be made to retrieve the invoicing data. Now, separately, we can set up credentials because we don't want anybody in that system to be able to retrieve the invoicing information. So we have this key, which is basically a login ID or username to that web service that is facilitating the retrieval of the invoices. And separately, we need to set up a password. So it is the equivalent of login credentials to allow authorization to be able to retrieve invoice data. So once we've set that up, if you're using the connector software, then the connector software, you can have different adapters that allow you to retrieve invoice from different locations. So the key specifies which adapter will be used to retrieve the invoice data out, and that has a corresponding password. So we can set the username and password, and then we can test that connection. Now, note that Squizz.com can only make secure HTTP request connections. So it's the same kind of connection where you see this secure green lock that tells you that a website is running secure, and that means that the data coming to and from the website cannot be viewed by any middle software. So we're using the same protocol, the HTTPS protocol, in order to securely connect to retrieve the invoice data and make sure that invoice data is securely transferred back to the Squizz.com platform. So only if there is a security certificate set up in the connected web service can the Squizz.com connection successfully be made. And once we've entered those credentials, we can test this connection by clicking the test connection button. And if all is well, we'll get a message saying data successfully obtained, and the connector status has the number 1 return. So that says that the Squizz.com platform can successfully connect to the connector or other compatible business systems web service, which then can be used to retrieve the invoices out. Now, the other part is we need to then configure to allow this live querying to be allowed. So only if this is set to yes will the Squizz.com platform be allowed to ask for invoice data and other data live in real time from their connected business system. And separately, this setting for allowing data exports is to allow to push data back to that business system as well. So only if that is set to yes can that happen. And we need both those options. We need the live data requests in order to be able to retrieve invoicing data out. And then we need the allow data export setting to be set to yes to be allowed to push payment information back to the invoicing organization's linked business system as well. So once we've set up those connector connections, we can successfully connect And then that gives the green light for the Squizz.com platform to be allowed to retrieve invoice data out. Now, step 8 is that we need to also go into the organization settings and make sure that the currency matches the currency the invoices are priced in. So invoice credit card payments will only be allowed to be made for invoices when the currency of the invoices matches the currency set in the organization here. Now, if there is no currency specified in the invoicing data coming out of the connected business system, this setting would be the default of how the Squizz.com platform will interpret the currency that the pricing of the invoices is in. Once we have saved that setting, clicked on the save button, then that completes step 8. Now the last part is now we have to connect the people and customer organizations that want to trade with Quickie-Mart. From the alternative side, the customer organizations need to be registered on the platform, and a person who's allowed to needs to make a connection to the Quickie-Mart organization. So Springfield Police, if they're the customer, they need to make this connection, and once the connection is established from both the people and organization menus, then that organization needs to be assigned to the corresponding customer account. So we can see that Springfield Police has been assigned to the Spring 001 customer account, that allowing that business to be able to see invoices and see the details of that account as well as make payments against it. And we can do the same also for people, where we can also assign people to accounts as well if they were individual customers. And we can also see here where we can put in the code of the account and then assign the account to that person, allowing them to see the account from the accounts menu. So once we've got all those steps in place, we've got our payment gateway set up, we've got our credit card payment types imported into the platform, we've imported our customer accounts and signed them to the credit card payment type, we've configured the connector to be able to retrieve invoices data out of our corresponding business system that stores the invoice data. We've set the currency to make sure that it matches the currency of the invoices. Then we have assigned the customer accounts to the people and organizations that are allowed to make invoice payments and view invoices. Then with all that in place, then customers can now go into the accounts, go into the account inquiry section, and then load invoices, tick the invoices they wish to pay for, and then they can see the payment option available to them to be able to make the credit card payment. Now there is an optional step 10 here where we can set up surcharges, and then we can apply the surcharges to the credit card payment types, allowing to put in an extra fee on top of the credit card payments being made. So once again, just like payment types, we need to import surcharges into the Squizz.com platform using either the connector software or directly through the Squizz.com's API. And then within the surcharges, we need to set up a surcharge that is designated for credit cards, and we need to give that surcharge a unique code in the data coming in. Now, once that surcharge has been set up, then we can go into the payment type, and then we can put the surcharge code against the payment type to denote that that is the surcharge that will be applied, and we can choose if the surcharge will be based on a percentage that we will charge on top of the invoice totals, such as a 2.5% surcharge, or we can set a fixed price. So in this case, we want to put in a price of $1. So once that has been set up, if we then go and load up the invoices and make a payment, we can now see that the surcharge has been applied on top of the invoice amount, and there's also been tax applied for that. So now for $880 of invoices being paid, an additional $1.10 has been added on a surcharge. It is important to note that the corresponding business system needs to be able to support surcharges being calculated on top of invoice payments, or otherwise admin staff within those systems need to know how to handle this exceptional circumstance and create new invoices to cover the surcharge amount. So it is important to look at the business system to see if it is capable of handling this piece of functionality or the processes that need to go up to support payment surcharges. Now we can pick and choose who receives notifications of the payments, just like how we saw before, by being able to go into the notification settings, and under the accounts notification, we can choose the people who will receive notification when those payments are made. So we can add or remove people for this organization to the accounts section by typing that person's name in who's connected to that organization. selecting their name, and then they will now receive. So you can have multiple people that will receive notification of payments. So you might want to add the accounting admin staff or a number of people to this list so that they are all aware when a notification gets raised for the accounts. Now, the other part within the admin area of the organization is we can also see a list of all the customer account payments received. So if we click on that, we can go through and see each of the payments. And just how we're talking before about trying to get the payments to be sent back to the Connected Accounting ERP business system, if those payments are not being received or haven't been set up, we can also click the button to resend those payments for any payments that failed. Also from here, we can also go into any payment and view the details of the payment made and the invoices which may be handy for admin staff of that organization also to see all the payments across all the customers. Now you can find more information about the customer account credit card invoice payments by clicking on the help link in the footer bar of the Squizz.com platform. And if you scroll down to the Selling Through Squizz.com page, there's a section called Set Up Invoice Credit Card Payments that explains more detail about what's needed in order to make that happen, as well as how to set up the payment gateways and more details on how to get going with credit card invoice payments. As always, if you have any more questions, if you're registered on the Squizz.com platform, you can click on the profile link to go to the feeds and go to the early adopters feeds to where you can then post questions, any comments you have while using this functionality. That's a wrap up. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Until next time, happy squizzing.